first. So don't judge me too harshly. All right. Hello, everyone. I am Elena Marberger, and I work at Fife College. I've been there since February of this year, and if you can't tell from my accent, I'm from Montana in the States, so I've been in Scotland for about 2 years at this point. Fife College has 5 campuses spread across Fife with over 10,000 students and staff, and it's been a real pleasure working there. When I first started the role, I started at the end of the other CCO's terms, so I got to see their exit presentations, which was fairly intimidating given I hadn't had time to do anything. So rather than get myself all worked up about creating something amazing, I thought, okay, what's the biggest problem with cycling at Fife College right now, and what's the easiest way to fix that? And I was told there's a bike hire scheme, but it wasn't operational because there was no one to manage it. It was just not efficient. So I said, okay, there's a product, and I need to get it out to the consumers. If I were a business, how would I do this? And I said, I'll create a website. So the aim of the website was to create something that would outlast me in my term, because it was originally supposed to be 20 weeks, improve the efficiency and accessibility of the bike hire scheme for all students and staff, display the scheme in a modern and attractive way, and increase cycling knowledge at Fife College. So when I first started the role, I was told, we have a certain number of bikes for the bike hire scheme, but we don't know how many or where they are. And like I said, there's 5 campuses across Fife, and I can't drive in this country. So I relied on the kindness of my coworkers to get me to the different campuses, and we collected all the bikes. And these were the forms I was given. This is forms created by 3 different people across as many years, with no real continuity between any of them, and no real follow-up to make sure that they were actually correct. So this is how it was being managed previously, which is not very efficient. So obviously the first step was to sort of make an inventory of all the stuff that we had. So I went around, collected all the bikes, we got all the safety equipment and repair equipment together. I then started to build the website using the product that we knew we had, which took several weeks because I'd never built a website before, so that was a learn on the spot experience, but it actually went a lot easier than I thought it would. After that, I launched the website, and because my contract was extended, I had the opportunity to manage it over the summer and manage the rentals and work out any kinks that I had. With the beginning of the new semester, I put out a survey to make sure that it was actually doing what I needed it to do, and then I'm currently making adjustments to the website based off the answers to that survey. So this is a screenshot of the homepage of the website. You can see, you can select a rental period. There's photos of the products as well as if they're available during that rental period. And if you click on it, you'll see the prices and verbal description of what they do and what they're used for. And then there's a page for getting cheap repairs, getting a grant to buy your own bike, buying refurbished bikes, or volunteer opportunities across Fife. There's a page for testimonials, if you're interested to see what people have thought of the scheme before. And there's a page for common questions if users don't want to reach out directly to us, they can just go on here and see the really easy answers. So I wanted to make sure that the website was actually increasing the amount of hires that we were getting. So before the launch of the website, over the previous 16 months, we had only 167 weeks of rental in total. Whereas after the launch of the website, in the last 8 months, we've had 317 weeks. So there's been a massive increase in the amount of rental that we've had with the website. According to the survey, people have rated it 4.42 out of 5 stars, and 66% of survey respondents said that they would use the website based on use the scheme based on the website alone. So we're getting some really great feedback from Fife College. I also wanted to make sure that I wanted to see what sort of figures we were saving in terms of emissions as well. So Cycling Scotland says that an average trip on a bike is 10 kilometers. So if you were to take that trip cycling versus walking versus driving, you can see the different figures there with a pie graph. Walking is less efficient than cycling because you need to consume food to move yourself through space. So it's a little more calorie deficient. But then I thought, okay, based on those figures, I'm going to calculate over the 317 week of hire we had, assuming that a person takes a bike out or travels once, one 10-kilometer trip once a week for the 317 weeks. you would have 859,000 grams of CO2 emitted if you drove, 110,000 if you walked, and 57,000 grams if you cycled. And this is regular cycling, not e-bikes, which are even more efficient than regular cycling. So we have huge savings. This is assuming once a week, 10-kilometer trip. As for personal development, I've had a lot of fun. Obviously there was a lot of, I had to develop, implement, and manage the project myself. I also had to be really adaptive. I live on the IKEA side of Edinburgh, and I work in Fife. So it's an hour-and-a-half commute, depending on which campus I'm going to. So my manager and I work something out to where I can work on the train when I'm coming into work. I also work from home frequently. And as you can imagine, when you are working with a website and like running a whole hire scheme, there's a lot of stuff that comes up. So you really have to be able to be adaptive and think on your feet. I also collaborated extensively within Fife College and outside. So we worked with the sustainability team, the Students Association, and I worked with Brina Kakati a lot to get the greater community involved. And then of course the communication and interpersonal skills when you're working within a team. And in terms of legacy, I created a long-term solution that really increased the efficiency of the bike hire scheme. And this means that cycling infrastructure and culture can be emphasized because there's less time spent trying to run this already existing scheme. Additionally, this helps the college work towards its net zero commitment, which is fantastic. I've also spoken with several people who are interested in implementing their own bike hire websites because they have bike hire schemes but no really easy way to manage them. So this is working as a framework for their own websites. This is Ingrid. She is a 50-year-old student at Fife College, and she gave me this testimony so I could share it with you guys. I love her. She hadn't cycled since she was 11 years old, and she thought, okay, I'll hire a bike because it's better than just buying one. And then she challenged her husband and herself to cycle 100 miles in September and easily beat that. She still has a bike. So she is out there just saving all the carbon for us. But she's an excellent example of people I really want to encourage to be able to cycle again, no matter your age or where you live. So the bike hire scheme and the bike hire website makes this possible for Fife College and the greater Fife area. Thank you. Here's the
You go back to that very first day, give yourself one bit of advice, what would it be, or what would you do differently if you were to go back and do it all again?
Do differently. I think that I would worry less about sort of the structure of the college, because I've never worked within a big organization like that, and there's lots of hierarchy that I didn't know how to maneuver through that. And like the Students Association who I work with was really helpful in just giving me the answers I needed, or reaching out for me, or even doing some things for me, like posting on social media. So I think I was really worried about that for the first few weeks, but honestly, since then we've settled into a routine and I've made my own contacts, so yeah.
You've obviously done lots of really great work, and it's super well done to you for a start. If there's one thing that you would be like, that's the one thing that I want to kind of, that's the best thing, what would, of all of that, because there's so much in there, what's the thing you're most proud of all of that?
Of like the website or just the bike?
Anything in the whole time that you do it.
Oh gosh.
Sorry.
I've been here for like 9 months now. Well, I'd say creating the website, like making something that will be effective for other people after me. Because that was my biggest worry. I was like, I have 20 weeks, how can I make something that will be a good tool for people to use? Because that was the biggest issue we had with previous CCOs. They would do their things and then there would be no handover. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to make something that anybody could use and that would really make bikes available forever at the college. And I think I've done that. And I mean, unless somebody above the Students Association decides that the bikes are going, I think this is a really solid situation we've got going on. So I'm really happy to help provide that. Yeah.
What do you want to see Fife College doing next in terms of cycling and the next sort of big thing that they can achieve?
So we have the big new campus coming in, Dunfermline Learning Center, and it's still being developed. It should be open like 2025, I think, for for students. And I really want to make sure that cycling infrastructure is protected there, because there's been a lot of talk about cutting space, or like, you know, we don't actually need this sort of storage for cycling, so it's clearly not being heavily prioritized. But if we're going to be developing, especially into the future, we need to think about active travel and sustainable travel. So I'd really love Fife College to focus on providing cycling culture at the new campus.
We'll try and do that for you. Once you the next CCU will be like, by the way.
Thank you very much. Hopefully everybody